My name is Gabe Zolna. I'm out here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and I met an individual, and I wanted to ask him a couple of questions with respect to the most recent presidential election. I'd like to get his unbiased opinion. Joe, can you let us know what you think as to how the elections sort of unfolded?
Well, it depends on what context you're asking. I really do believe that the election was fabricated in its roots, probably starting from the election period of, you know, the House of Representatives and the Senate back in 2014. At that point, they had taken major losses, and they probably decided that the best route to go was their same game plan that they've been using for years, was to alienate, you know, common sense, to break people into uh, basically into buckets. You know, anyone that didn't agree with globalism, you know, climate change, uh, social injustice around those lines, they figured that they could appeal to at least a majority of the country if they divided us to garner the votes that they needed. And it's been a game plan that's worked for them over the last, few decades when it comes to presidential elections. It was set really to fail. If you look at the Senate seats they lost and the House of Representatives and the seats they lost there, and not to mention the 1,000 seats that they lost across, all state legislatures. I don't know why they clinged onto that game plan, but I think they had success in the White House, and they decided that would be their fictitious way to continue their control over the White House.
How did you think the election turned out? And give me your opinion of the speech that President Trump gave.
I didn't get a chance to watch it because I was at work. I did read over the text of the speech on a quick 15-minute break. I think he was very wise to use what I will probably feel for at least the first year of his presidency, with the onslaught that the biased liberal media, which is ABC, NBC, MSNBC, which don't get the best ratings, but they do still have an audience. I do believe that they were trying to paint anything that he would say as, from here on out, as an authoritative, dictatorship style towards government. But the inauguration day, for those that were off, that was as a pure platform as he can expect to have over the next year to implement his ideology across the masses. So it was very, very effective for him to continuously bring up the failures of the previous administrations, not both Republican and Democrat. So he's throwing all of them out to the wolves, as he should. If you look at Wall Street, you have indices that are at the highest they've ever been, but my pay has stayed the same since I got out of the Navy in 2005. As a construction manager, making $40,000 a year. I make $40,000 a year now. That's 12 years. I really think that it's an economic populist message that he put out. I think a lot of people are sick and tired of having to have their quality of life degraded.
So, is it fair to assume you're looking forward to an optimistic future based on the change in the Oval Office?
I am very encouraged by the picks he's made with his cabinet and his across the board. He has picked people that are, without a doubt, proven to be job creators across the board. I think he's ran on an economic, populist message, and if you look at, his cabinet picks, from the Secretary of State to the Secretary of the Treasury, they're all billionaires, and there's that flies in the face of liberals and their message of the last 20 years on how they have been completely, asphyxiated upon, class warfare. They use that as a blinding blanket to suppress the vote or bring out the vote to people that are rich in the eyes of how they try to paint it, that don't care about the working individual. The exact opposite couldn't be true. Those individuals create jobs. They create industry in order for people to be stable in their jobs. And I think for those people to be at the top positions in those cabinet positions, it only speaks volumes to how sincere Donald Trump is to his message that he put out. Listen, he's not the most articulate man, but he means exactly what he says. And I honestly think that he is setting forth the standard as we speak as to what his vision is by appointing those individuals. I really do.
So it's fair to assume then that you're looking forward to a bright future under the Trump administration and the Trump leadership.
At this point, I don't have any inkling of doubt. It's to be seen. But if you look at the arc of presidential history, the outsiders have been put in. Look at Abraham Lincoln. He was only in government for a couple years before he was elected president. Eisenhower, he was he was a commander, or he was a general that helped oversee the victory in Europe, and he was elected. Individuals that don't have enough exposure to Washington to be corrupted are going to do what they set out to do. Those are great men that want to see the unfettered success of other individuals. I think anyone that strives for office has that in their heart. I think a lot of people have that corroded and eroded over a period of time. Look at Trump's agenda for the first 100 days. He's going to try to set legislation that will put term limits on individuals. They'll put limits on how quickly you can become a lobbyist after you exit civil service. Those are real, tangible, and common sense applications to that vision. What other politician have we had in the past that's ever even brought that up? Those are the conversations we all have with each other. How do we fix government? Term limits. Separating lobbyists from civil service. I mean, I say what you want about Donald Trump if you're not a supporter, but at least you can support that vision on how to make civil service pure again, and that's what I'm most excited about.
So you're in agreement then that he's got the foundation to make America great again?
I think it's rock solid. A lot of people give him too much gruff about how cliche that slogan might be, but you got to reach the masses. And some people analyze it more than others, but I really think that message really kind of set the standard where he has to go. And by God, he's so it's only been 52 days or whatever it is since he was deemed the winner of the election to just yesterday when he was sworn in. Up to this point, he hasn't deviated off his message with his action, and I think that's a great sign. So
I want to thank you, Joe. I want to thank you for your time and for your insights, and I'm sure that a lot of Americans agree with you, and we're all looking forward to a bright future. Thanks again, Joe, for your time.
All right.